Manipulation and grooming never start big. They don't begin with obvious control, cruelty, or abuse. First, they build your trust, your love, your loyalty. They make you feel special, chosen, and safe. And then comes the shift, which starts small, a cutting joke, a tiny favor, a quick invasion of your space. On their own, those moments don't feel like a big deal, but that is the trap. Those little things are actually boundary tests. It's the very first step in maintaining control once you've already become invested. The test is not about the joke, the favor, or the tiny crossing of a line. The real test is, will you silence your own discomfort to keep the peace? And once you understand that, you're going to see this pattern everywhere. Hi, my name is Callie Sorensen. I have a master's in the psychology of coercive control, and I help people break free from toxic relationships so they can build emotionally healthy love and lives. And in this video, I'm going to show you what boundary testing really is, the 7 ways manipulators test your boundaries, why it's so easy to miss in the moment, and the simple practical tool you can use today to spot if someone is safe and caring, or if they're training you to doubt yourself or groom you. Because here's the truth. Boundary testing isn't about the action itself. It's about what your reaction teaches them. So what is boundary testing? Boundary testing is the deliberate act of making small, seemingly harmless violations of your limits to see how you respond. And why it matters? Grooming is all about control, and control can't be taken all at once. It has to be trained into you, one tiny step at a time. The test isn't the joke, the favor, or the little jab. The real test is whether you override your gut and your silence and your discomfort to keep the peace. They are collecting data. Will you laugh off the joke that stung? Will you say yes to that one little favor? Will you ignore the pit in your stomach or that anxious feeling when they cross a line? Each time you minimize your unease, they learn something important: how easily you bend, how much you'll silence yourself, and exactly where your edges are. Boundary testing is never random. It's calculated. It's the groomer's way of mapping your defenses like a predator, circling slowly, poking to see where the fence is the weakest. Now let's break down the 7 most common types of boundary tests. See if you recognize any of these in your own life. Number 1, just joking tests. This looks like sarcasm, digs, or insults disguised as humor. If you push back, they'll brush it off with, "Hey, relax, I was just kidding. It was just a joke. Take it easy." Why it works? It's low risk. If you let it slide, they know that you'll tolerate disrespect if it's wrapped in humor. Number 2, disrespect normalized as harmless. Repeated lateness, ignoring agreements, or minimizing your frustration or feelings. If you point it out, they might say, "That wasn't my intention. You're so sensitive. Why are you being so uptight?" And why it works? It conditions you to accept being devalued. And over time, you start to doubt whether your boundaries even matter. Number 3, favors that become expectations. It starts with a one-time request. Maybe a boss says, "Can you just stay 10 minutes late?" Next week, it's an hour. And then soon, it's every single night. And why it works? They test whether guilt or obligation will override your needs. Once you give in, that line keeps moving. Number 4, invasions of privacy. These are subtle intrusions framed as casual or caring. A partner grabs your phone just to check something, and then next time they're snooping through your messages. Why it works? If you allow small intrusions, they escalate into bigger ones, slowly blurring the line between yours and theirs. Number 5, pushing your no. You clearly say no, and then they keep pushing. "Come on, just this once." And why it works? If you cave, they learn that your boundaries are negotiable. Persistence pays off for them at your expense. Number 6, emotional guilt or coercion. They weaponize your empathy. "If you loved me, you'd do this," or "everyone else would say yes." And why this works? By making you feel selfish, bad, or disloyal, they flip your kindness against you so you override yourself to keep the peace. Number 7, subtle isolation. They plant doubts about your support system under the disguise of concern. Why do you spend so much time with them? They don't really care about you. They don't have your best interests at heart like I do. And why it works? Step by step, it pulls you away from the very people who truly do care for you and who would notice the red flags until the groomer becomes your main source of validation. Do you see the pattern? It's never big at the start. It's always small. A little joke, a comment, a favor, a little push. But each one is designed to normalize disrespect and test whether you'll silence your discomfort. That's the data that they use to decide what they can get away with and how far they can escalate things. And here's the kicker. No matter which tactic they use, if you object, they will flip it back onto you. You're too sensitive. You're uptight. You're overreacting. This is not random. It's calculated. By dismissing your reaction, they're training you to doubt yourself and make you wonder, maybe it really is me. Instead of questioning their behavior, you start questioning yourself. And that is exactly the trap. So why don't we catch boundary testing right away? Because it's designed to slip under your radar. Each test feels too small to fight over. You don't want to look dramatic or seem difficult or lose that connection. So you tell yourself, it's not worth making a scene. They probably didn't mean it. I don't want to rock the boat. Maybe I'm overreacting. It's not that big of a deal. And groomers count on that. They rely on your empathy, your politeness, your desire to avoid conflict. And here's how it works. Every time you let a little thing slide, it becomes the new baseline. And then that next push doesn't feel like a big deal either. It's like the boiling frog metaphor. Drop a frog in boiling water and it jumps out. But if you turn up the heat slowly, it stays in until it's too late. And boundary testing works the same way. Each small push teaches you to override your gut just a little more until the situation escalates far beyond what you'd ever thought you'd accept. It's a test run. Can I cross the line? Will you let me? And if you do, they've just been given the green light to push further. Boundary testing is not about that little action itself. It's about what your response teaches them. Because every time you silence your discomfort, they learn that you'll override yourself. And that's exactly what they're counting on. So here's your practical tool to take away. And it's very powerful. Your feelings have wisdom. Do not ignore them. Do not minimize them. If something feels off, make sure you voice it out loud. When you made that comment, I felt uncomfortable. I feel uneasy when you did that. And then pause. Watch what happens next. Do they lean in? Do they care about you? Do they adjust their behaviors? Or do they dismiss, minimize, blame you, or laugh it off? Their reaction tells you everything. People who truly care will care about how you feel. People who don't will try to train you to doubt it. And I get it. I know how hard it can feel to speak up for yourself or even know how to handle these moments without second guessing everything. And that's exactly why I created my program, Become Ungroomable. Inside, I walk you through the step-by-step process through all of the tools and practices to help you reclaim your feelings, honor your needs, and use your voice with confidence so no manipulator can train you to silence yourself ever again. You can find the link in the description below if you're ready to take that step with me. Here's what I want you to know. The fact that you even noticed something felt off, even if you didn't say anything, means your inner wisdom was already speaking. You're not broken for missing it. You were trained to dismiss your gut. The moment you start recognizing boundary testing for what it is, you can shut down the grooming cycle before it even begins. Boundary testing is just the beginning of the grooming process. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next video where I break down how testing turns into boundary pushing and how quickly that can escalate. And remember, if it feels bad, that's enough. Trust your feelings and learn how to speak them with genuine confidence. Boundary testing is never random. It's training. The moment you recognize it, you break the cycle before it begins. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.